If you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, you're tuning in to Law by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, I'm going to go through the basics of the World of Darkness Storyteller system as we learn together how to play Wraith the Oblivion 20th Anniversary Edition. Wraith the Oblivion is a tricky game to get into, regardless of the edition you play. Most of the mental gymnastics is coming to terms you are playing a character who has died not doing all the things they wanted to do in life. They exist in a realm like our own, only colder and darker, called the Shadowlands, with stronger emotional ties to people, places and goals that are preventing them from moving on, known as passions and fetters. These two things I feel are the biggest hurdles for newer players to wrap their heads around. Few will admit this, however, as everyone tends to focus on the unique mechanics of Wraith that do make it a little harder to play than other World of Darkness titles, but not by much. You are here because you are one of those people, and I am here to make all those problems go away, as I attempt to tell you how to play Wraith the Oblivion 20th Anniversary Edition, covering the basics of the rules and systems to help you get stuck in.
Ahem! I do believe you are forgetting someone, my dear boy.
Am I? I can't recall asking for your help, Fred, but thanks.
That is Dr. Frederick Phoenix to you, co-founder of the Phoenix Institute.
I made you. I think I get to call you whatever I please. Anyway, what are you doing here? Your special is until next week.
I cannot believe you! You have forgotten! You said I was going to assist you in this tutorial!
Oh, that's right. You were gonna be the...
Shadow! That's right! As you see, dear listener, Wraith the Oblivion is a unique game where the Wraith character requires two players per Wraith. One plays the main Wraith, the Psyche, whilst the other takes on the role of the Shadow, the manifestation of the sinister, twisted thoughts and malevolent temptations incarnate. And, as a special treat, I'm going to be the Shadow Guide to the Psyche that our Lord and Saviour has made. You know that it is the Shadow because my voice will sound, how does this work again? Ah, yes, you'll sound all spooky, just like this, won't it, Law?
Yep, that's right. Now just give me the character sheet, give me the character sheet. Yep, give me the character sheet and behave yourself with the equipment and no one will go hungry tonight. Anyway, sorry for that, listeners. Frederick, shut up, Fred. Fred will be directing the Shadow's actions and roleplay and I'll be doing, well, everything else. I should point out that this won't be a character creation guide, for I've already done one, which you're more than welcome to listen to. It's literally the 103rd episode of the podcast. I'm also not going to go over the lore and setting too much. You can listen to other episodes of the podcast for that. Finally, just going to give a content warning for drug abuse, abusive behaviours, and police aggression, which are regular themes in this example of mine. In order to understand how to play Wraith, we've got to talk about the actual game system. D&D uses the D20 system, named after the fact most of the actions are determined by a D20, a 20-sided dice. The Warren and Thirsty Sword Lesbians use the Powered by the Apocalypse system, which uses a D6, a 6-sided dice to determine everything. Wraith the Oblivion and other World of Darkness games after it and before it use a system known as the Storytelling system, which would later be used for the Street Fighter RPG. A modified version of the system, the Revised Storyteller system, was introduced for the Trinity Universe games, as well as the adaptations of the Storyteller system used in Exalted and Scion. The new World of Darkness, now known as the Chronicles of Darkness, later introduced, used its variation of the system, the Story Path system. But what is it? The Storyteller system requires you to use D10s, which are 10-sided dice. Actions, whether being tasks or combat, are resolved and determined by forming a dice pool of a smaller number of these dice. If you look at the character sheet, you'll see your stats are divided up into different sections, attributes and abilities. Most of your actions will revolve around the majority of this portion of the character sheet by rolling a total number of dice that equals an attribute plus an ability. This is against the difficulty level, which is usually 6, unless otherwise stated by the storyteller, the one running the session, or some mechanic mechanic in the game. This means that any number that is from 6 to 9, 5 to 2 is a failure, so a 1s. 0, the 10, represents a critical success if you have a pair of them, which makes 4 successes rather than 2. If you get a 1, these cancel out successes. However, if none of your dice comes up with a success and one or more of the dice are showing 1, this roll is a botch. If your score is at least 1 success, even if that success is cancelled out and additional 1s remain, that is just a simple failure. A botch is much worse than a normal failure. It's a dramatic misfortune which varies on the scenario, your Arcanos power, and so much more. And with the basics of the storyteller system presented, let's put this all into practice. Here we have Amelia, a non-binary school teacher that died of a ketamine overdose. I never said she was a good teacher, at least not in a moral sense. She was loved by her pupils and the school, unknown to her poor life choices, and still reeling in the wave of mournful tears as a new recording studio in their name, the teacher, is being built. They were an enthusiastic DJ and loved their drum and bass, D&B. Amelia would joke with their pupils when they, the pupils, teased Amelia's love of the EDM genre, always excited for music lessons with her. Her pupils are connected to one of their passions, help the kids finish the music course with the emotion of love attached to it. It has 3 dots out of a total 5, so it is a fairly strong passion. Mechanically, passions are one of 2 ways a Wraith can acquire pathos, by feeding off the emotions connected and corresponding to the emotions of their passions. But what do I mean by this? Well, using the previous example, if Amelia was in the presence of her formal pupils doing what she could from beyond the shroud to help the kids pass their music course, she could roll their passion rating at the standard difficulty of 6. In this example, the passion rating is 3, as I mentioned a moment ago, so they can roll 3 dice, with each success equaling the number of pathos they could restore. The Wraith can also attempt to regain pathos if they are near a mortal experiencing strong emotions of the same nature of one of these passions, which is harder to tap into and have a difficulty of 8 to reflect this. To give an example of this, with the same helpful passion, Amelia couldn't feed off of any description of the emotion of love, but specifically to aiding children finishing their courses, though the pedantic ST could limit this to music students, but that would be a tad unfair in my biased opinion. Anyway, Amelia could siphon loving energies off of any aiding children with their work or enthusiasm, such as a supportive parent, a praising teacher, or a classmate, rolling 3 dice as that is the particular passion rating with a difficulty of 8, with each success gaining them 1 point of pathos back. Both of these examples can only happen once per scene. You can read more about this on page 304 and 305 of the core book. The other way one can restore pathos is by rolling their memoriam background rating once per session at a difficulty of 8 to regain 1 point. In the case of Amelia, that is the community at the school remembering them in death, invoking the feelings associated with that. So, if Amelia were to roll here, they would roll 4 dice, as that is the memoriam rating that they have, and would get 3 6s and a 1. That would be a botch, as there would be no successes and a 1. This botch would actually reduce the memoriam rating by 1 permanently, which represents the memory of the Amelia just fading away. However, Amelia isn't going to do any of that right now, as they actually have 9 out of a total 10 pathos. Instead, we're going to...
And what do you think you're doing, Law? You're not going to mention the dark passions?
Oh, we're doing this now? Okay, why don't you...
Indeed I shall, Law. You see, the dark passions are the core emotions that drive a Wraith's shadow. Just as a Wraith can gain pathos by acting on their passions, their shadow has dark passions that generate angst. Sometimes these dark passions are parallels or even inverses of the Wraith's regular passions. Destroy the thing the Wraith wants to protect, for instance. The shadow benefits whenever it has the chance to act upon its dark passion directly, or when the Wraith acts on them, whether or not the shadow has done anything to provoke it. One of Amelia's dark passions is the kids must fail with the emotion of hatred, which is in complete contrast to the passion love described earlier on. It's like he planned this encounter to happen. Anyway, if Amelia was to actively act towards this or without the shadow's aid, the shadow guide, in this case I, Dr. Frederick, co-founder of the Phoenix Institute, rolls the dark passion rating, which is 4 in this case, with a difficulty of 7, gaining 1 point of temporary angst per success. Now, this could be interpreted in many ways. Amelia could just ignore a struggling pupil, whether they liked them or not, in addition to actively making one fail, or just the thought of thinking about the pupil they don't like. The shadow can also gain angst by evoking in someone else an emotion that powers one of its own dark passions with a difficulty of 9, gaining 1 point of temporary angst per success. And yes, just like the pathos of the psyche, there are many ways a shadow can gain angst, but more on that later.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Giving you the mic and vocal processing software was a fucking bad idea. Anyway, moving on. We're not focusing on the school, but Amelia's haunt, a special place or spot in the Shadowlands that corresponds to a place of special importance to the Wraith, which serves as a home, sanctuary, and refuge. Mechanically, the Shroud rating is lower, making it easier for Amelia to interact with the Skinlands. She has a slightly better control over their shadow, and Arcani, the powers of ghosts, are easy to use as well, and is able to slumber in their haunt in addition to their fetters to restore health or corpus in exchange for free pathos and 8 hours of resting or meditation. In the haunt, Amelia is overseeing a party hosted by their partner, Clea, with her friends organised to celebrate Amelia to raise Clea's spirits somewhat. There is music and celebrations, and someone suggests that Clea DJs as she would do with Amelia in life. Hesitant at first, Clea breaks out onto the stage, so to speak, and boots up the equipment. As a ghost, Amelia cannot do very much to help. She lacks the embodied Arcanos to physically manifest before, and even if they could, they wouldn't want to, as that would just scare the shit out of people. Amelia does have a couple of options, both in the form of 2 Arcani, Inhabit and Puppetry. With Claim the Shell, the level 3 Inhabit power, Amelia can enter a machine, in this case the DJ turntables that are also Amelia's fetter, and aid in the working of the parts to minimize technical hiccups. They would spend free pathos and roll strength plus inhabit against the Shroud rating, which depends on the place in question, time of day, whether there are any supernaturals about, etc. and so forth. We will say that it's 7 outside of the haunt and 6 within. The more successes Amelia would get, the larger the object they can get into. For a point of reference, if Amelia was to roll and get 3 successes, they could enter something human-sized or as complicated as a motorcycle or heaven weaponry. Amelia could then perform a charisma plus performance roll with the turntable specialty of theirs to add an additional die. But what Amelia is actually going to do is to use Twitch, the second power in the Puppetry Arcanos, which gives fleeting control over a limb for a turn, but in order to do that, they must use Skin Ride to slip into the mortal's body as a passenger first. They have to spend a point of pathos and roll Strength plus Puppetry, which is a total of 3 successes, which isn't a lot for Amelia to work with. They're not very good at this yet, and they desperately want to play with Clea again. Amelia can spend a point of willpower, of course, to guarantee a success, which makes things a little easier.
Well, look at you. How pathetic you look, standing and panicking in the corner. Still a pathetic little bitch in need to be rescued. You had it easy. Look at the mess you left Clea in. The least you could do is make them happy, but you really need some help. How about you let me help you?
Whoa, man. What the fuck? That's so cold. Sorry. Anyway, that's wonderful roleplay aside. I believe Frederick is employing the shadow dice here. In critical moments in either life or death, or an emotionally poignant one such as this, the shadow can offer up to 5 dice to aid the psyche. For each success the shadow dice gets, they receive a point of temporary angst. When it reaches 10, it then becomes permanent. So, with those 5 additional dice, that Skin Ride roll now has a dice pool of 8 rather than 3. And with that in mind, let's roll! That is an interesting result. So Amelia with their D10s got 1 success, but the shadow got 5, totaling 6 successes. The ST would describe the shadow's influence, which perhaps with Clea shivering slightly as Amelia slips in, like the kind of shiver one would accompany the expression, "someone's just walked over your grave."
Oh, Oh, you're so out of touch, Amelia, and so is she. It's a good thing one of us knows what they're doing and not up in their tits in super acid. Am I going to do all the work around here?
No, I don't think I will. No more shadow dice. Not for now, at least. Let us burn some willpower for guaranteed success with the Twitch roll. Spend another pathos, make a roll, and we have 3 successes, which means that...
Nice try, Law. I mean, Amelia, you're not going to get this so easily. You think you can work without me? I will spend a point of angst to activate Freudian Slip, one of the many forms a shadow can wield. With it, your twitch becomes a sudden spasm that neither you or Clear can resist, unless you make a willpower roll with a difficulty of 7.
Ah, nicely timed, you old fart. Now I have 1 less dice to roll as I have 1 less willpower point. Now I can't spend willpower here, but I can resist all the same. So I have a 10, an 8, a 9, 6, and a 1. As the 1 here removes a success, I still have 2 successes, which is more than enough to resist your fuckery, you old fart. So, as I was saying, with the previous 3 successes, Amelia helps out a little bit, with Clear believing the little flicks from Amelia were totally natural. This, of course, being the World of Darkness, it is not long before something goes totally tits up, and with the apartment being somewhat of a mini crack den, blasting drum at bass at 2 in the morning, the police are going to raid the place, which is somewhat problematic. Amelia's other fetters are a bag and a needle that killed her, which are both drug related, and that turntable is all in danger of being destroyed or taken.
Furthermore, it is my interest to keep Clear around, as the Shadow wants to keep her hooked on drugs, something that Amelia doesn't want, which can't happen if the police arrest Clear, so I will help and hinder Amelia at the same time.
Ha! You can try. So, what happens now? Well, we enter the initiative. Both NPC and PC roll 1d10 and add that to their initiative rating, which is determined by adding the dexterity and wit together, which are both attributes. Amelia's is a rating of 5 and rolls a 7, which makes 12. As for the policeman, his dex plus wits are both 3, totaling 6, and now rolls a 5 and the d10, which makes that 11. Clear's, however, is 1 point less, meaning that we go first, then the police, then Clear. Now, if there was a tie, the one with the higher initiative rating would go first. Amelia cannot do much possessing the police, but she can affect the Skinlands with her Pandemonium Arcanos on the police officer at the front of a raid by using Befuddlement, which would make the officer forget what he was doing, which would annoy those behind him, delay them from entering, and giving Clear and co. time to escape. Amelia spent a point of pathos and rolls wits plus Pandemonium at a difficulty of 6. She got 1 success and a 1 that cancels out the 1 success that they had. However, with that 1, as per Pandemonium rules, the Shadow gains a point of temporary angst.
Such a stupid trick, Amelia. You should have got me to do it for you. I am the only one who can save Clear. Let me take over. Let me take over.
Nice try, but you can't use catharsis just yet and assume control over me, I mean Amelia. Doing so would cause all sorts of problems. Not as much as the police officer who has just brandished a gun and is shooting at someone for some reason. The police cannot see Amelia, but that bullet does pass through her. The Shadowlands is not too separate from the Skinlands. Amelia would dodge this, but naturally thinking, I feel that they are stunned that the Arconi trick didn't work and are frantically searching for Clear. He succeeds in his dexterity plus firearms roll to shoot through someone in the leg, which goes through Amelia. Ignoring the nameless NPC, Amelia takes a point of bashing damage and becomes incorporeal for 3 turns, as that is the number of points she has in their stamina. Not all things passed through can cause this, but it would hurt a human, it would cause a Wraith to take a point of bashing damage in the process. In this state, Amelia cannot take any damage from things in the Skinlands anymore, but can in the Shadowlands. Clear spends her turn trying to fumble out of the fire exit in the bathroom. When initiative is called again, it's Amelia's turn again. They roll wit plus an investigation to find Clear, as they are probably the best way out at the moment. They have a pool of 6 and have a difficulty rating of 6 and are able to score 6 successes, the best unsupervised roll of the tutorial so far.
Bravo, Mix Amelia. You succeed the only thing that you're good at, running away. Me. That's all you care about. And after everything you and I have been through, what about Clear? Are you not going to stay and protect her?
Well, I don't really have many options left, innit?
No, but we do. We could send a message to those pigs in uniform, and a message that they should stay away from Clear. What if we could send them away forever?
Go on.
I'm willing to bestow you the energy to unleash a crushing, burning spasm of entropy. Distill your anger into raw, destructive energy.
That is Obliterate, the level 5 power of outrage. You sure?
So full of doubt, Amelia, as per usual. Come on, would I lie to you? All I ask of you is to become a hero and perform a sacrifice, enduring the hardships that Clear has to put up with you.
Do you mean a harrowing?
Yes, Amelia, a life for a life. So, what say thee?
I say that seems an appropriate place to leave things for now, as harrowings are a bit more complex, and I don't have time for that now, but I think that'll be it, Fred.
It's Dr. Frederick!
Anyway, that's really the most basic of Wraith's elements sorted out for you, minus the willpower damage Amelia should have taken after hearing the gunshot due to heightened senses all Wraiths have, but that is part of the reading you can do now. I hope this has been helpful for you, and if there's anything about Wraith the Oblivion's mechanics you wish to learn about, do get in touch via the YouTube comment section or social media posts. I would love to be able to come up with more helpful content for you all. Just check out the other episodes first to see if I haven't covered them already. This means you have to listen to them all, which is really my master plan coming to full fruition. To be kept updated, follow the Law by Night VTM Twitter and Instagram pages to find out when we upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time,
Farewell.